Mark was a very unique person. He was really like a larger-than-life person, and he was the last person you would think would ever get sick.
You would have liked to have known Mark. If you met Mark, you would always remember him.
But when he first was diagnosed, he just didn't think he was going to be like everybody else.
My name is Matthew Modine. Mark Lustgarten was just one victim of pancreatic cancer. My father was another. This is the story of the Lustgarten Foundation and how we're sponsoring research that will turn pancreatic cancer from a death sentence for people we love into a cancer that can be treated.
You want to talk about diseases which will change the way someone is living abruptly, it's pancreatic cancer.
31,000 people a year are diagnosed with this disease. 31,000 people a year die from this disease.
It's hard to detect. It spreads very quickly before anybody knows it's there. And once it is spread, it is almost impossible to cure.
In Boston, a researcher named Dr. Sarah Thayer is looking for clues to the disease that killed Mark Lustgarten and hundreds of thousands more Americans.
I was lucky enough to be here at a time where Mass General does a tremendous volume of these surgeries. Our experience with this particular cancer is extraordinary and has given me an opportunity to view this cancer where other people don't get that chance.
In my head, I knew what the statistics were, and I knew what the internet said, but he was so big and strong, and he was a fighter.
Well, pancreatic cancer, everybody has heard about it, but not very many of us really know what it means. When Mark Lustgarten was diagnosed with it, we learned what it meant. So did Mark. It meant that we were going to lose him.
I don't think I really understood, and none of us really understood what it was at the time, and he didn't exhibit many symptoms for so long.
Somewhere in the range of 32,000 Americans are expected to develop pancreatic cancer this year. And of that number, 96%, it's a horrendously high probability, will succumb, will die of the disease.
It is so insidious. There's, to my knowledge, no other disease like it.
Why is pancreatic cancer so devastating? Because there are no early detection tests, no effective treatments, no cures.
We have mammography for breast cancer. We have a PSA blood test, a prostate-specific antigen for prostate cancer. And now, so importantly, we have colonoscopy that is starting very importantly to reduce the rate and increase the outcome for people with colon cancer. No such screening test exists for pancreatic cancer.
So people don't rush immediately to the hospital thinking, oh, I've got epigastric pain, I've got pancreatic cancer. That's not what they think.
When Mark's family came forward with the idea that we should do something more than just be so devastated by it, we should be, in Mark's tradition, proactive about it. It just sort of went without saying. Of course we would do that.
The reaction then was, we've got to do something. If for me, fine. If not for me, we've got to do something about this disease, because it's going to affect a lot of people.
And so he said, look, I'm going to reach to my friends and reach to people who know me and say, what can you do to help me and help other people with this disease?
The Lustgarten Foundation held its 5th annual Pancreatic Cancer Walk in Old Westbury Sunday morning. Its founder, former Cablevision Vice Chairman Mark Lustgarten, died of the disease in 1999.
It's very overwhelming to hear people come up and thank you, and say, oh, thank you so much. There was nothing here before, and you're doing so much.
One of our great frustrations, physicians such as myself, who for decades have treated people and diagnosed people with pancreatic cancer, is how little attention has been paid to this disease.
I was asked to help develop this new scientific review committee so we could get grant money out to scientists to make new discoveries.
To date, the Lustgarten Foundation has provided more than $14 million to support more than 100 promising research studies, to help to understand the genetics of the disease, to find earlier ways to detect the disease, to find effective ways to treat the disease, and ultimately, to find a cure.
It's incredibly satisfying. There's nothing higher than getting a result that proves a point. There is nothing worse in life than no data.
research. Let's produce treatments, therapies, hopefully, ultimately, a cure.
Mortality rate, pancreatic cancer is now 95% in terms of a 5-year survival. We're hoping, obviously, that we'll be able to turn that around just as childhood leukemia has been turned around. And how did it happen? Through research.
You can help by learning more about pancreatic cancer, by participating in one of our walkathons, and of course, by making a donation. Please call us at 1-877-443-3330 and look for us online. Your support can help us make a difference.
The Lustgarten Foundation has been very instrumental at the point of identifying treatments or processes of study that will lead to clinical trials.
You're always learning, and it's not learning from a book, but you're actually kind of scratching at the surface of something that nobody understands yet.
Research cures cancer. Research follows the dollars. So we have to raise a lot of money and we have to stimulate a lot of research, and from that will come the cures.
Groups like Lustgarten, which use seed money to fund essentially venture capital investment in high-risk research that may have a very large return on the investment, is now becoming much more focused.
Information explosion is unbelievable. The new genetic tools that are available today were definitely not around 10 years ago. And that's why we are really, literally, very close to answering some very interesting questions.
Probably one of the most impressive things that we've seen in the 7 years of the Lustgarten Foundation is the increasing quality of the grants that are sent to us for research, higher quality science, and the stature of the people who are sending the grants in. Very good scientists are now getting involved in pancreatic cancer research.
Before the Lustgarten Foundation, I think that my work may have never seen the light of day. They gave me some early seed money that allowed some very interesting data to come to fruition, so that the data that came from it could actually be published in high-impact journals and be read by many scientists and clinicians, so that they can validate what my initial hypothesis is.
The cure for pancreatic cancer? Research. More scientists conducting more research, asking more questions, finding more answers, helping more people.
We've done it before with breast cancer, we've done it with leukemia, we've even done it with AIDS, where we've provided people with, ways around their disease. And that's what I hope the Lustgarten Foundation can do for pancreatic cancer patients, and also someday not only find a cure, but maybe find a way of preventing it and find a way of what causes it.
I remember he came home after his first chemo treatment, and he got into bed and he stared at the ceiling. And I looked at him and I said, oh, no. This is not going to work. I said, you're not going to do this. I said, because I don't know. I could go outside and step off of a bus and get hit by a car. Nobody knows how much time they have. I said, and for whatever time you have, you're going to live. You're not going to lay in bed and stare at the ceiling. And he said, you're right.
The Lustgarten Foundation needs your help. You can help us to detect this disease earlier. You can help us to find treatments that work. You can help us to find a cure. Please call us at 1-877-443-3330, and we'll send you a free brochure. You can also make a tax-deductible contribution to fund more research, or look for us online at www.lustgarten.org. In the fight against pancreatic cancer, there are reasons for hope. Support the Lustgarten Foundation. With your help, we will find answers.